So Jens Kopka, we're here with Motoklik. You're the CEO. Can you just explain to me what it is and how you think it'll be able to help everyone from professionals to amateurs with your suspension?
Yeah, certainly, Jonathan. So this is the Motoklik TW 1.0 system, and it's a suspension data and lap timing system built exclusively for motocross. What we're testing here today is a new software development that we have. So AI is a very hot topic at the moment, and we have an AiSetup software built into this product now, which recommends clicker adjustments for the track conditions. So we spent 5.5 years to develop the product that we have here today, and what it does is it measures the suspension movement on the front and on the rear, and also the satellite position of the bike. Once all that data is recorded, you can download it to your smartphone, either Android or iPhone, over Bluetooth, and then it's really easy to work with the data in the app to see your lap times and how the suspension moves. So another step on from that is the AiSetup. So what this does is it automatically analyzes the suspension data. Firstly, it identifies if the spring tension, spring preload, spring rate is okay, and also if the valving is within specification or not. So sometimes that can highlight if it's too stiff or too soft. And if everything checks out okay, then we can go through to the recommended clicker settings, which will give a recommendation for the current track conditions and the rider's riding style, and how much to go in or out with the compression clickers and the high and low speed on the rear shock also.
And the ease of use seems quite impressive from what we've seen today, especially for a rider who is maybe too scared to play with the clickers himself. This has given you exact what to do, whether to go too in, too softer for both the front and rear, so it's pretty accurate, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of margin for error, which is good for your average rider.
That's exactly it. We've built this product for everyone. So in our market research, we found that over 90% of riders don't actually know what to do with the clickers. So we're working to address that problem. But as you said, the ease of use, this product is made to fit on the bike without making any modification to the bike, so everything is really easy to fit and quick to set up. And then also the app, you don't have to be any engineer or scientist to use it either. It's all very intuitive on how it works and easy to work with.
And where do you see this product going? What are the goals for it, and how far do you think you can take this? Because even for the likes of pro riders and technicians at the professional level, this can be very useful as well. It's showing you each individual corner, how the suspension's working as well with graphs, so it's very detailed, but also the ease of use is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the use of data in motorsport is very common outside of off-road motorcycling, and the reason for that, I believe, is because of the previous sensor technology that existed. It wasn't really up to task and robust enough to last in off-road motorcycling, but while it is very good for tarmac use, so when it comes to the system, it's applicable to everybody from the amateur rider all the way up to the professional rider, and we can offer that real insight then to help with decision making for a racer on the weekend, if they want to see if an inside line or an outside line is faster, or if they're working with their suspension technician and trying to identify a problem. This gives objective information so that they can say, in this corner at this point, this is exactly what the suspension did and how fast it moved in meters per second as well. So you can see both the position of the suspension and how fast the suspension is moving.
And just to underline the level of this product, you have Stuart Edmonds, professional British motocross rider, raced Grand Prix before, on regular Motocross of Nations rider for Ireland. He's helped you with this product, so the quality is very high and he's very happy with it.
Absolutely, yeah. So Stuart has been brilliant to work with over the last number of years. So we're working on this project for 5.5 years together at this stage, and through his work and development, we were able to make sure that the parts were up to task, that they'd last on the bike, and also that the information that we're given is what the rider really wants to see. So as you said, it's been used at professional level up into the British Championship, and obviously Stuart, a very capable rider, racing in the Motocross of Nations and having scored GP points as well in the past.
And are you looking to bring this to the pro levels, the likes of AMN and GPs? What are your conversations with teams there? I know you've been working hard that direction.
We'd love to speak with any teams who'd be interested in taking this a little bit further. So we are open to any discussion that you'd like to have. I'm sure there's a number of ways that we can support. Another aspect is our online dashboard. So what that means is that a suspension technician doesn't have to travel to every race with the team. So if you had a flyaway race in Indonesia or in Argentina and you wanted to support your riders remotely, that's possible through the online dashboard, where you can upload the data from the track, and then your team back at base can have a look and see what's going on and help the rider that way also.
And what are your goals for the future with this? How much more progression can you have with the product?
There's a number of avenues we can go down. What we'd really love to do with off-road motorcycling is to become an OEM supplier, so that this system is actually fitted on the bike straight from the factory. So we believe there's still a lot of optimization that can be done with the design if we were to build the sensors directly into the frame of the bike or into the suspension itself. And we're really solving this problem that 90% of riders have, where they don't know how to set suspension properly. So it's a great shame that I believe that companies like WP, Showa, KYB, Ohlins, they spend all of this research and development time and money, send a product out to the market, and then customers are just too afraid to go near. They don't know how to get the most from it. So we'd really like to help them with that, and we believe that this product is designed in such a way that it can be implemented into an OEM supply chain and be on the bike straight from the factory.
So this is really a cheat code to get the perfect suspension setup then?
Well, I won't say cheating, but it's allowed by the FIM rules, but definitely it's a big advantage over everything that's been done until now. So yeah, we're working to develop it all the time, come up with settings all the time. So we spent the last number of months and years recording the data from the track with riders of every level. So there's another elderly gentleman here behind me today, Alan Cranston. He's nearly 70 years old, and he was testing with us. We have Richard here today, who is a more average rider, and then of course Stuart Edmonds then races at the professional level. So it works with every rider, you know.
Perfect, Jens. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Funny enough, I don't even know, like, I think it's a good 6 or 7 years ago now, Jens came to me with the idea, and I said, look, well, let's have a little meeting, sit down, and I wanted to kind of discuss what exactly he was talking about. And as soon as he said suspension data, I was like, I'm in. As soon as you have anything going, I'll do all the amount of testing that I can possibly do. I can help you produce the products so you can get it to durable, and put some ideas and inputs, and like his brain alone is just like, I'm actually learning quite a bit on track as well from him, because he's a different thought process than me, and he's kind of looking from the outside in a different way, and I'm learning stuff, and he probably doesn't even notice himself. I'm learning stuff from him, and then with the obviously the feedback from the Motoklik, we're gaining a lot of traction in such a short period of time. But as I said, I'm asking for too much myself sometimes, so I have to just keep looking back. And hold on, January I was like here, and now I'm here. So, but yeah, Jens has been really, really good, and the Motoklik is absolutely phenomenal. And to be able to do what it's doing at the minute and the progress that's happening is crazy. And I don't think anyone that gets it that doesn't get a benefit out of it, I think like they're doing something wrong. Like straight away you stick it on your bike, and just getting your lap times alone and the data from the lap times and your suspension combined gives you a massive input on like increasing speed, increasing stability on the bike, and being able to ride faster for longer, and then obviously feeling more comfortable. And sometimes in myself I get a bit like caught up, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's too hard, I don't know if it's too soft, and to be able to go, right, I need to look at the data, and I look at the data, and you can tell straight away, oh yeah, it's actually too hard, or it's too soft, and it'll relay back information as well. So yeah, it's an asset for me to have on my team.
We also have the suspension section in the app, and you can go in and it'll give you all the data of the suspension moving in and out, and then it'll give recommendations based on the conditions, and it'll tell you what your spring rate, it feels your spring rate is doing, whether it's the right spec for you, and then you can make clicker changes. So I found it's given good information so far, but I would like to get another session with it today, and I'll hopefully update in the next 20 minutes.
It gave you pretty accurate information. So it was saying your spring was too hard, and then it was also able to give you clickers, what to adjust specifically for the terrain, which can vary between hard and sand, and you can adjust that on the app.
Yeah. So you can set it to low and high sensitivity. So you could put it to high, and it'll tell you to back your clickers a long way off. But we went to a middle setting, which was telling me to take 5 clicks off the front suspension to make it softer. So we're just going to go and test that now.
And for an amateur rider who doesn't have a lot of technical help in terms of suspension gurus, you know, you aren't GP riders with a whole team to adjust your suspension, how useful will this be on a race day for you? Track obviously changes a lot between practice, especially by third moto, and between practice and every race this is going to give you specific information on how your suspension is set up. It must be pretty advantageous for you.
Absolutely. I could see it, you go on a race day and you just start get out and practice, and it'll give you a base setting, and then every session you'll just be making some fine adjustments, and then you'll know yourself how you're feeling and how the bike feels.
And that can be a pretty big advantage, because a lot of people don't have this at the minute, so the first guys to get this is going to be getting a bit of a head start.
Well, it's just going to help. It'll give you the ideal setup for you and also for that track. So you know if you, I think down the line you would be using it just to sort of back up what you're thinking yourself. You know, you would become a better rider and a better test rider just by using the system, and you would make the changes that it recommends, and then you can go from there.
And how have you been with suspension previously? Been able to set it up yourself? Do you think this brings a lot of accuracy? Because it looks like you can get lost quite easily as an amateur rider trying to set suspension up track to track.
Definitely got lost plenty in the past. I've tried my best, always try to set the sag and set it up in the recommended settings. I've had my suspension done a few times by different suspension tuners who give you like a little sheet of their recommended, you know, for sand or for hardpack, and I've always tried to follow that, but I wouldn't have strayed very far from that. But where the app today was telling me to go 5 clicks softer was a big change. You know, I would never have done that.
So Jans, what were your views on the test day from your technical perspective with Richard, and what were you able to show him, and what were you able to glean from his riding?
Yeah, I was really happy to get out here with Richard today, because I think Richard is a very typical rider of what you see at tracks all over the world. You know, rides at a good ability, but not at the professional level as well, so really representative of most riders out there. And when I was watching the bike go around at the start of the day, the chassis looked to be moving quite a bit in some sections of the track, so I think you'd agree, Richard, that when you're coming into the turns you would felt some skittishness and stuff beforehand from different hardpack circuits. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
And yeah, so then the first thing after the first session when we downloaded the data, what it highlighted was that maybe the front spring rate is a little bit too stiff, and that would tie in with that skittishness coming into the corner. So basically what's happening is, rather than the suspension being able to absorb the bumps, it's deflecting off them and won't give you that control. So it was nice then also when Richard said after that you know that this was an issue for you. So like, how long have you had this bike and been experiencing that problem? Or
probably all my motocross career. I've always struggled with sort of front end feel, and that coming into the corner, that you know what the front end's going to do. I've had this bike for a year, and I did get the suspension set up, but it's just very interesting to see that it's telling me that the spring rate is still it's probably one rate too high. So I think that'll be next on my list, to drop a spring rate and then test again, and hopefully I'll see a good improvement and a good benefit.
And I think also then, Richard, so I don't know what your work background is, if you work as a mechanic or anything like that, but in terms of how to fit the system here onto the bike, like I think most motocross riders are able to oil filters and oil chain and all that kind of stuff, you know, they have some mechanical ability. But how do you feel about how the system goes onto the bike? Do you think there's any challenges with it, or?
Not really. It all seems to work with parts that are already on the bike. There's like the little brake the brake line guide, and then there's the rear brake line guide, and then there's sensors or cable tied on, and there's good guards with every part of it, so it's protected from stone damage, and everything seems to be fairly straightforward. You have the main box and then the other control unit, and it all seems to just, everything's fitted with cable ties. And you can see there's still room on the bars. It's not a really big unit or anything, so it all seems to fit together quite well.
Yeah, and we designed this system so that it can be left on the bike all the time as well, so you don't need to put it on and take it off, and you can wash it after use and everything like that. Did you notice the system on the bike when you were riding, Richard? Did you feel any different than normal?
Never noticed anything or felt anything different at all. No,
yeah,
it all seemed to just be, it was just there doing its thing. And
yeah, so that was part of the design philosophy of this product, was that, you know, it's not going to impact your riding. You can still ride exactly how you did before, but now you've just got the information to have confidence on the bike and feel comfortable and set those fast lap times, hopefully.
Yeah.
And just as well, there's no wires with this, so this is all on your phone and can be done remotely through.
Yeah, so no need to plug in or anything like that, or need to have a laptop. It's just all on the phone or tablet it works on as well. So I think, Richard, that's something that you like. You could sit there in the chair and just connect and look at the data.
Yeah, you see what recommendations it was making, and you can do those and then go and try again.
Perfect, thank you. And do you think this will eventually lead to better lap times? What are your perceptions on that?
Definitely, yeah. I would always be quite cautious. You'd sort of ride at 80%. You know, if you don't feel comfortable on the bike, or if you know, as the track deteriorates and stuff, I guess it can get very sort of dangerous feeling nearly. You know, I would always back off and be more conservative and not hang it out. So I would only really be pushing when I have that comfort level. So if I could get to that comfort level, it would definitely be a big benefit, and I would think I would probably have much more consistent lap times and increased speed too.
And essentially safer as well, right? Because your bike's going to be more predictable.
Well, it's more predictable, and you know, just when you go to turn into a corner, it's going to react as you want it, rather than it's trying to fight you into the corner or something like that.
Exactly, very good. Thank you. So Richard, you just had your session there after the adjustments with the Motoklik app. How did you find the improvements?
Definitely, I could feel the improvement. I could feel the suspension moving more. When it took 5 clicks off the front and a few clicks off the back, I could feel the bike moving, the suspension moving more. When I was hitting there's a lot of stutter bumps, sharp bumps today, and it would be hitting the bike quite hard, and you were really trying to sort of bulldog through it. Where when I made those adjustments, I felt like I go through them and just wasn't as much fighting that I was having to do. I could feel the suspension moving more. I felt like the bike was more level. So that's just the first session after. So it's good progress so far.
Good job.
To see what the app says now, to log in and see if it says any further improvements.
For people who don't know, then you can check your lap times and your sections and to see what the suspension's doing.
And analyse each section by section. You can see just and even your line choice. You can zoom right in. You can see which line was quicker, inside, outside. So it's good progress so far. I think I'll maybe try and do one more session and
good job.
See how we go.
Perfect.